Hello, people. Welcome to another episode of Grand Football TV. Happy New Year to you. I know it's like 5 or 6 days into the year, but this is our first video in the new year. We had some recording issues before now. That's why we were unable to bring you Game Week 19 and I believe 20. So we're back with Game Week 21. But before we go into Game Week 21, I wanted to wish everyone a Happy New Year and all the best for 2026. Whatever you believe is going to happen, it will happen for you this year. Make that effort. Start early to begin to build your dreams. Yeah? God bless everyone who is part of this community. And I'm sure come end of 2026, we would all rejoice together. Yeah, we would have grown the channel, we would have done everything that we need to do on our part, and you will also be a part of it. You would have made it happen. So, thank you. So, Game Week 21 is what we are into now. But before we look at Game Week 21, let's have a little snippet of what happened in Game Week 20. Yeah. And I know we didn't have a video for it, but I'll just go through the results for each one. So, Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Aston Villa beating Nottingham Forest 3-1. What a game. Yeah? What a game. And amongst our analysts, pundits, panel, whatever you want to call them, Chris and Dion got the correct score of 3-1 for that game. Brighton versus Burnley. Burnley, yours truly got the correct score for that one. And quite a few of us actually got the correct score. Well done to King T, well done to Osita, well done to Anu, well done to Temizak, well done to Kiki. We all got 2-0 Brighton versus Burnley. Wolverhampton versus West Ham. Now, this one was a shock. We know Wolverhampton haven't actually won a game all season, but they started the new year with a bang. They won this one 3-0 at home. 3-0. And no one got that correct score, as you would imagine, but two people got the correct outcome. Only two people predicted that Wolves would actually win the game, Okay and Finn. So well done to them. Bournemouth versus Arsenal. This one finished Bournemouth 2, Arsenal 3. Big game. Top of the table game. Arsenal maintaining their spot at the top of the table with that win. And well done to Temizak. Temizak was the only person who predicted 3-2 to Arsenal. I wonder how he did it, but he did it. Yeah, that's why he's top of our leaders board. You will hear that later on. Leeds versus Manchester United. Leeds, Man United. That one finished 1-1. And only Osita got that correct score of 1-1 to Leeds versus Man United. And then Everton versus Brentford. This one was another interesting game because there were 4 goals to Brentford and 2 to Everton. Thiago getting himself a hat-trick. And it's so funny, I took him out my FPL this week and he scores a hat-trick. That's the beauty of FPL. But yeah, well done to no one because no one actually predicted that scoreline. And I didn't think anyone will have that scoreline anyway. Fulham versus Liverpool. I'm sure the goal that made it 2-2 in that game would be a contender for goal of the season by Harrison Reed. And I can guarantee you he'll probably not score a better goal in his career. But that was a beauty. No keeper saving that. No keeper saving that. So that game finished 2-2. And well done to King T, because he was the only one who predicted 2-2 in that game. Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. Newcastle, Crystal Palace. And Newcastle were 2-0 winners in that game. They beat Crystal Palace 2-0. And well done to Temizak and well done to Michael. They both got that score correct in that game. Tottenham versus Sunderland. That game finished 1-1. What a goal by Brobby. Beautiful goal. And two people predicted the correct score for that game. Well done to David and well done to Temi Tayo. They both predicted Tottenham 1, Sunderland 1. And the final game for Game Week 20 is Manchester City versus Chelsea. A managerless Chelsea, we have to add. And they were able to dig deep and get a 1-1 draw against Manchester City. And yeah, that's one. No one predicted the correct score. Only two people predicted the correct outcome in Chris and Michael. So yeah, that is Game Week 20. Now let's look at Game Week 21. Game Week 21 starts today, Tuesday, the 6th of January. So the first game I'm going to look at is West Ham versus Nottingham Forest. West Ham, after that poor showing in their last game against Wolves, this is another 6-pointer. They would definitely need to get their acts together and get this game going and get a result. But Nottingham Forest would have other plans because they also had a bad showing against Aston Villa. So they would definitely want to come into this game to change that narrative. So this game, I'm sitting on the fence. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Bournemouth versus Tottenham. Tottenham drew their last game against Sunderland. Bournemouth lost to Arsenal, but Bournemouth looked good. So Tottenham, I know they've been winning more games away from home than at home, but this one might be a game where they'll probably see and think we can't get a win, but it won't happen because Bournemouth would have other plans. And I see Bournemouth beating Tottenham 3-1. 3-1 to Bournemouth. Brentford versus Sunderland. Brentford are starting to be the surprise package of the season, you know. It's funny how I had them in my relegation zone and they're, proving me wrong by their 7th at the minute on the table. So that's a huge feat. And I see them, although they're playing a very, very good Sunderland side who never back down, who never give up. But I feel this one might just be a bit too much for Sunderland. And I think Brentford might get that win they desire. 2-0. 2-0 to Brentford against Sunderland. Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa. Crystal Palace under Glasner, they've been playing really well, but lately the results haven't been coming. But I see this game, because it's a big game against a team who's high up there, I feel they will step up in this game and try to make sure they get the result that they need. And I'm going to go for Crystal Palace to beat Aston Villa 2-1. Everton versus Wolverhampton. Wolves, can they carry on from where they stopped in their last game, where they played at home? Everton also lost at home, and they have another chance at home. So I'm going to go for Everton in this one to try and make amends for what happened in their last game. But I know Wolves will give them a tough game, but I see Everton getting the results that they need, and I'm going to go for Everton to beat Wolves 2-1. Fulham versus Chelsea. Well, we've heard that Liam Rossini is taking over now. I'm not sure if he's going to be, well, he should be there for this game. And I'm sure Fulham's one of his old clubs while he was a player. But this is a West London derby anyway. These two teams playing each other. I see Fulham giving Chelsea a very, very good game, just like they did with Liverpool. In fact, that Liverpool game, they've got 2 home games back to back. So I see them trying to make sure they get the results that they desire from this one. And because Chelsea, they dug deep against Man City, they might have, overplayed themselves for that one and might not get the result they need for this one. So I'm going to go for Fulham to beat Chelsea 2-1. Manchester City versus Brighton. City will be hurting from that draw that took them away from the title race a bit. So I'm going to go for Man City to cause a lot of problems for Brighton and get the results that they need. I'm going to go for City to beat Brighton 3-0. Burnley versus the newly sacked manager, Amorim. So Man United are managerless at the moment as well. Who knows? I'm hearing rumors they might go for Maresca. Is that a good option? You never know. You never know. But going to this game, I've gone for a Man United win, but thinking about it, will they be as strong as Chelsea when they didn't have a manager and still dug deep and got the results that they need? Burnley might capitalize, but I'm going to stick with my guns and say Man United would get the result 2-1 against Burnley. 2-1. Newcastle versus Leeds. I remember the last time these two met, they played out a 0-0 draw, and I see this game, someone getting a winner, and it'll be the home side. Newcastle, they're starting to put their acts together now, getting some results here and there, and I see this one, Newcastle would get the result that they need. I see them beating Leeds 3-1. And the game of Game Week 21, Arsenal versus Liverpool. Arsenal are playing at the Emirates. They haven't lost at the Emirates, and they've been playing really well when they've been playing at the Emirates this season. Apart from that game, maybe against City, where they should have won, but they dropped points. So I'm going to go for Arsenal. Obviously, it will be playing at the back of their mind that loss they had to Liverpool earlier on in the season. So I'm going to go for them to beat Liverpool 3-1. 3-1 in this one. Yeah. So, what are your own predictions for Game Week 21? Remember, this weekend is the FA Cup, so there won't be any games this weekend. That's why they're playing these games midweek. So, what are your predictions? Yeah. Thank you for joining us, guys, and I shall see you in the next video. One love.
Yo, check this.